Welcome to the Connecting Life podcast. I'm your host, Dianaboskma, and I'm here to help you connect the dots of life so that you can live your best life in a healthy and fulfilling way. Today, I want to talk about what the best cooking methods are for gut health. I want to start with a moment that might feel very familiar. I remember once standing in a kitchen with someone who looked completely overwhelmed. She had a wooden spoon in her hand, staring at a pot of vegetables, almost as if it might suddenly tell her what to do next. And then she said to me, "I don't even know if I'm cooking this properly. Everyone talks about what to eat for gut health, but no one explains how." And honestly, she was right. We hear so much about what to eat, fermented foods, fiber, nutrients, but almost no one talks about something just as important: how to actually prepare that food. And the truth is, for someone with a sensitive digestive system, the way food is cooked can make the difference between feeling uncomfortable or feeling nourished and at ease. So, if you've ever felt unsure in the kitchen, or maybe even a little intimidated, this episode is for you. We're going to walk through this simply, in a way that really makes sense. So, why are some cooking methods better than others? Well, before we go into it, I want to help you understand why it matters, because cooking isn't just about taste. It actually changes the food in important ways. So when we cook food properly, fibers begin to break down. The other thing is that nutrients become more available, and certain compounds that can irritate the gut are reduced. And then also, and that's a really good thing, texture soften, and that makes it just really nice in the mouth, but also your digestive system doesn't have to work so hard. And if your gut is already struggling, that can feel like real relief. So this is something that traditional cultures understood incredibly well. So they didn't just eat vegetables, they prepared them carefully. And the methods they used were soaking, fermenting, simmering, and slow cooking. So they worked with the body, not against it. So if your gut could choose, it would probably choose slow cooking. There's something incredibly nourishing about food that has been given time. And slow cooking means low heat, longer cooking, and that creates a gentle, slow transformation. And what happens is really quite beautiful. The proteins become easier to digest, collagen and gelatin are released, and fibers soften quite a bit. And the whole meal just becomes warming, calming, and grounding. And this is the kind of food that your body can really relax into. So think about a stew that's bubbling away for a couple of hours, or chicken slowly cooking in a very nice broth, and lamb and beef becoming really soft and tender. And you don't need anything fancy for this. Simply get your hob and a pot, and there you go. That's enough. And even if you're unsure about what to do in your kitchen, simmering is always a safe method to use. It's one of the simplest and most forgiving methods. So what you do is you keep your food just below boiling so that you see these small, tiny little bubbles coming up, nothing like... And that gentleness of those bubbles, that's what really matters. Because what it does is that it keeps the nutrients intact, it also protects the fats and proteins, and it supports easier digestion. So that's really great for soups, broths, vegetables, but also grains. Just think about them. When you're including grains, which when you're working on your gut, initially is not a great idea, but once you've gotten through a whole program of recovering your gut, grains can come back, and then letting them soak, and after that bubble away, simmering so that they become really well cooked and easy to digest. And when things feel a bit overwhelming, you can always simmer your food. Steaming is another one of those methods that is good for you. It's often overlooked. Not everybody has a steamer, but it is a really nice, good way to prepare your food. And it's quite simple. You're cooking the food with steam without it sitting directly in water. And what that does is that it preserves nutrients. And while it's doing that, it also softens your vegetables and it keeps the flavors really nice. So this can be really helpful when your digestive system feels quite sensitive, because it doesn't overwhelm the system, it supports it. Steaming works really well with, for instance, carrots, courgettes, broccoli, but also fish. When you have fish on a steaming tray, it's really tasty the way that then goes. And again, no need for complicated equipment. You can get a steamer basket. You can get them almost any kitchen shop and whatever. And even a sieve in a pot can work. So it's not hard. And then there's gentle sautéing. And that's about making the flavor really nice. So think about it as a type of frying, but not heavy. So not all frying is problematic, and it really depends on how you do it. Sautéing can be supportive because it means that you're cooking in a good fat over a medium to low heat, and you don't burn or smoke it. So that's what you make sure of, is that it's the low temperature is the important part. And that's where traditional fats are really shining. So butter, ghee, tallow, or olive oil, because olive oil you can use, but only in low heat. Don't use it on high heat. And these fats add flavor. And what fats also do is that it helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins. So that's a good thing. And with that, fats help make your food more satisfying. Just think about, for instance, onions and garlic. When you slowly let them cook in butter, they become really nicely caramelized and soft and sweet. And that's really nourishing. It's just really tasty to eat them that way. And also, they're easier to digest than when they're raw. And the next one that we have is slow roasting. And these roasts, they bring a really nice level of comfort when it's done gently, and then it creates warmth, depth, and some richness. And it's again about moderation. So not high temperatures, no burning, no charring. It's about cooking slowly, and that then helps to soften the food, but also develop flavor. What it helps doing is create the softer textures, like when you have beef and that becomes thready and easy to eat, it's really nice and soft, and it enhances the flavor. And with vegetables, it makes them more appealing. Frequently, kids really love it. So again, you can think about carrots roasted with some butter, or lamb really slowly cooked with some herbs. And what's also really tasty is garlic. When I make a roast, I love putting cloves of garlic at the bottom. They taste amazing. And it feels quite grounding eating foods like that. And then for preparing food, fermenting, that's not about cooking, although it is preparing, so it's a bit like, what is it? So fermenting is a bit different because that's about transformation, just another type of transformation. It's about allowing beneficial bacteria to grow in the food. And that's really powerful for your gut health, because what it does is that it introduces beneficial bacteria, and that supports microbial diversity, and that helps your body digest certain foods better. So you don't have to start big. Simple is the better way to go. So think about a bit of sauerkraut with your meal, or some fermented carrots, or otherwise a bit of yogurt and kefir. It's all really nice. And when you start small and you do that consistently, you can make a difference. And you have to figure out how small to start, because for some people, it's quite quickly too much. And then there's a couple of methods that we need to be mindful of. Not fear, it's more about awareness. So some cooking methods, they can make it a bit harder on the gut to digest. And those things are like deep frying, or charring your food, or relying heavily on microwaving, or eating large amounts of raw food. So what can happen? The fats can damage, and it can create compounds that irritate the gut. And overall, it makes digestion more difficult. That doesn't mean you should never eat it. It's just keep being mindful of it and making sure you don't do it all the time. So if this feels like a lot, then it's about making it simple for yourself. You don't need to do everything. You don't need to master everything. Just start with one thing. So, for instance, simmer a soup, or slow cook a stew, steam a vegetable, add a little butter, or try a teaspoon of something fermented. That's already enough. So cooking for the gut is not about being perfect. It's about making sure that you're gentle on your gut, gentle with your food, and gentle with yourself. Because the way you cook your food really matters, just as much as what you cook. When food is softened, warmed, slowly prepared, and thoughtfully combined, your body recognizes that it's something safe and good for you. And when your body feels safe, digestion improves. So if you ever find yourself standing in your kitchen and feeling unsure, remember, you don't need complicated techniques. You just need a pot, a bit of time, and a little patience. That was all for today. I hope this helps you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next conversation. Goodbye.